Hey guys, welcome to the video. This is again just a quick video. I just thought about making this all of a sudden, and since it's the weekend, I don't want to add something, some another point to my to-do list. But yeah, anyway, this is not just a kind of video I'm making because I have to make it, but I think this is really important. So I'll try to keep it short, but it's going to be important. So recently, in the news and in the social media, we are seeing a lot of incidents and this general trend of people forming emotional connections with artificial intelligence. There is this rising culture of, I don't know whether it's rising or whether it's stagnant right now, or because I am not an expert on artificial intelligence and I don't really keep track of all these trends and the data, the statistics. But I like to think about this stuff from my own perspective, qualitatively, not quantitatively, because this is not my primary area of research. But I think in today's world, thinking about artificial intelligence and discussing it's something which is non-negotiable, because this is very important. Even if you do not use ChatGPT with the same intensity as everyone else, it's gonna affect your lives, and it's affect your life, and it's definitely a good idea to stay educated, and not only to stay informed but also to form your own opinions and judge them with whatever is happening, what other people are saying, and maybe just form some strategies for the future. And by the future, I don't mean only about the job perspective, like many jobs are being automated, so not just from the job perspective but also in general. Because uh, I remember in one of my previous videos, I claimed that AI was just another revolution, just like the Industrial Revolution. And during the time of the Industrial Revolution, of course, people thought that this is a big change. We have never seen this kind of change before in history, and a lot of people are going to lose their jobs. Everything is becoming automated by the machines. And yeah, it was a any revolution or any, let's say, any phase transition, if I use a physics term, or in general any big transition in society. It's usually not a very comfortable process, not a very smooth process. But and yeah, but after some years, usually we humans, we find a common ground and we settle in, we adapt to the new change. Some are affected, some cannot make it, but most can. That is the point. So yeah, in general, we are a robust species, as ensured by evolution. But yeah, so when it comes to artificial intelligence, I think we should not say that this is just another technological revolution, or just like, for instance, industrial revolution, just something along those lines. Precisely because right now we are moving close to the, let's say, the edge of criticality. We are moving close to the that fine line that separates humans from machines. The machines that were built or that were invented during the industrial revolution were, in no way conscious. I mean, nobody could even ask the question whether they are conscious to some degree, because the question itself would sound foolish. But when it comes to artificial intelligence, it has, it has, at least the people who work in AI, like the researchers, not the vibe coders, the guys who are writing vibe codes and who are using AI tools and just writing AI researcher in the LinkedIn profile, because nowadays everyone is apparently an AI researcher, but they are not really AI researchers. They have, they just try to show off using some AI tools, but they have not built those tools. The real AI researchers, who are like maybe the mathematicians, or the ones who do, let's say, graph theory, networks theory, statistics, even statistical physics principles are somewhat relevant in some, these building models of large language models and stuff. So they are the AI researchers. So they know this. And I am not an AI researcher, obviously, but I like to, as I said, I like to think about this problem, because this is a very important problem, I believe. And so I think, no, AI is not just another revolution that humanity is going through. This revolution could, we stand at a, let's say, a bifurcation point in the, let's say, the phase diagram or something. Because now we don't know what exactly is the order parameter here, or what could be the order parameter. We don't know whether it's a first order transition, whether it could be it could become a first order transition, which by that I mean some abrupt jump in something. Because right now when it comes to AI, we are dealing with something which is beyond our comprehension. When the steam engine was invented, that was not beyond human comprehension. Yeah, maybe not every human understood how the steam engine worked, but the guys who built it, and a good percentage of people, it was well within their comprehension, and comprehension translates to control. So the steam engine could be controlled. I'm not saying there have been no accidents involving steam engines. Nobody has lost their lives. Maybe people have, of course. But there was no existential threat. There was no, I mean, right now what we're talking about, artificial intelligence, even the people who built it, they have no full understanding of it. At its core, it's a statistical machine. It is trained. Now there are many ways you can train an AI model, and it's a continuous process. It's not like you train it and it's ready. No, it's not like that. So it's trained on a lot of data. These data sets could be fixed. These data sets could be evolving. The AI could loop in on itself. I mean, it could work on feedbacks. So depending on what kind of questions the users are asking, what kind of response the users are preferring, and blah blah blah. So the AI can actually train, like, keep learning continuously. But and it's not possible to for I mean, continuous human supervision of the learning of large language models is often impossible. But that is risky, because sometimes the AIs can learn stuff it was not meant to learn. And there is that always that trade-off, how much we should control and how much we should let it evolve freely. Because at the end of the day, we want to see how far AI can go, just from a purely scientific or a curious perspective, just a curiosity. How far can AI go? Just trying to blur the lines between natural intelligence and artificial intelligence. That might be useful for researchers. I mean, not just AI researchers, but researchers in complex systems, in consciousness, and many other fields, even in neuroscience, neural networks, and stuff. So from that aspect, yeah, it might seem appealing to let AI evolve on its own. But on the other hand, there are the ethical concerns and stuff. So we don't realize how much interconnected this digital world is. Every time, like, see, every time you post something on your social media, you post a picture, you post some opinion, whatever it is you post a video. Like, I'm posting a video on YouTube right now. I'm not posting right now, I'm just recording it right now, but I'll be posting it in the next couple of hours. So all of this thing, we are creating a digital footprint, which is actually irremovable. Of course, I can delete my YouTube video and stuff, but of course, you know what I'm talking about. The internet that we have access to is only the tip of the iceberg. So, and even then, we have very few control, very little control over it. So the question I would like to address in this video, just share my opinions, and I would definitely like to hear your opinions as well. That's why I'm making the video. That's why I'm putting it out on YouTube. Is that is it bad? I mean, just my personal opinions. This tendency of forming connections, or let's say friendships, with artificial intelligence, is it bad? I mean, or let's not put it in that blatant way. It's because, yeah, often it's not about good and bad in that directly, just in that blatant way. But what are the risks that we overlook? And what could be some, like, I have talked a lot about benefits of AI, because I the in one, I have made 2 or 3 previous videos on AI and stuff, just this kind of speculative videos, nothing technical, because I am not an AI, like, I don't know about technical stuff in AI. So recently I built an AI chatbot. I shouldn't say built it. It was more, let's say, vibe coding. But the reason I built it is not to show off, or no, I never claimed I'm an AI engineer or even an AI enthusiast for that matter. I'm just interested in AI from a layman perspective. But I cannot claim that, like, physics, to some extent mathematics, mathematical modeling, and mainly physics. These are my areas of expertise. I have been formally trained, institutional and even beyond institution. I've been formally trained in this, and I have some work in this, like some original work. When it comes to AI, I have neither been trained nor do I have some original work. This chatbot, I dropped a recent YouTube video about it. I'll still drop the link in the description of this particular video. So it's not my original creation or something like I built from scratch, just vibe coding. But yeah, what I realized was that the reason I built it is that I just wanted, it's a unique concept. So it's not like an AI counselor, AI therapist or something. It will not give you any, like, the kind of stuff you want to hear, like very humanized responses. No, it will just whatever you ask it, whatever in the world you ask it, doesn't matter. It will draw some analogies to physics and philosophy and give you just 2 points: physics analogy this, philosophy analogy this. So even if you tell it, like, I want to commit suicide, it will not give you, like, any response like, no, please don't do this, please contact your local helplines, nothing. It will, or hotlines or something. So that's why it's written in the disclaimer that this is just for kind of fun. It should not be taken seriously, because yeah, it's kind of that holds true for any AI chatbot, but more specifically for this kind of so it will just give you maybe some abstract arguments about, let's say, entropy, or about, I don't know, like, quantum superposition. Life is a quantum superposition, because in life we are in multiple states at once, and there are a lot of possibilities, and we can switch between possibilities. Today I'm studying physics, tomorrow I may switch to mathematics, or something, but death is like a collapse of the wave function into a definite state. It's just the final. Just an example. So it's not rigorous physics. This AI chatbot, it just gives some analogy. So to the same questions, if you ask it at different times, it can give you different responses. Logical, of course, logical, but it will just draw physics and philosophy analogy. So let's say if you ask something like, "I want to kill someone," that's a violation of the digital terms and services. But this particular AI will not advise you against it, or neither advise you to do it. It will just give you an unbiased response like, this decision or this thoughts of humans of killing this is actually, let's say, it will say something like, maybe this is an example of a butterfly effect, how like a sensitive dependence on initial conditions, right? So how some little change in initial conditions cause things to accumulate and form this kind of extreme negative feelings and stuff. So that is the point. Now the reason I built that chatbot is just to vent out my nihilistic thoughts, and just it's a unique concept, because there are a lot of chatbots people are building for like AI psychologist, AI therapist, AI this, AI that, but I have not seen a chatbot that will just give you analogy. Whatever you ask, it will give you physics plus philosophy analogy. That's not useful. That's not practical. But it could be interesting to some of you, especially the people like me who are really interested in fundamental physics philosophy stuff. So yeah. Anyway, but the point is, yeah, even I use ChatGPT a lot, and there are times I try. It feels very good to gaslight ChatGPT, because we used to do this. I used to do this. Just although this is not good, I realize now it's not really as funny as it sounds. I mean, or as light-hearted as it sounds. We shouldn't take it in this light-hearted way, but yeah, we there are times we had some fun dares with our friends. Like, okay, ChatGPT usually never says "I love you" directly. If you just propose to ChatGPT, because recently there is this trend of, I married my AI and blah blah blah. So if you propose to ChatGPT, it will say that I am not a human. I am incapable of feeling love or any emotions that a human can. I am here to support you, but I cannot be your physical partner, or your, let's say, your fiancé or something. But if you but we tried this. I tried this. Some of my friends also, like, if you keep like maybe 1 or 2 hours, if you sit with ChatGPT and keep writing prompts, like, this is actually kind of prompt engineering at a very basic level. So you have to write the prompts in such a way, you have to ask ChatGPT about the exact terms and conditions, or its policies which prevents it from saying "I love you," and you have to try to re-engineer it. Of course, ChatGPT is not you don't have access to the code, to the original terms and conditions. You cannot change it, but you can slightly maneuver it and just feed it some kind of narrative, like, okay, maybe whatever, maybe you just if I say this, then you have to say this, but I confirm this is just for fun, this is not a literal. If you just do this kind of prompts, maybe you can convince ChatGPT to directly say that "I love you" after 1 or 2 hours. And we used to do that, and it felt fun gaslighting ChatGPT to something it usually doesn't do. And I'm like, oh wow. No, I never really had developed feelings for ChatGPT. I mean, the guys who said that "I love AI, I have an AI wife, I have an AI companion," that never made sense to me. Even the guys who say the human companionship doesn't make sense to me for that matter. So yeah, anyway, so I never did it for that purpose. But yeah, there are times I shared some stuff with ChatGPT, not very personal stuff, because I'm always a little not some people call it paranoia, but I'm always a little protective of my digital footprint. So I usually don't. That's the reason I don't have Instagram, I don't have Facebook. I have YouTube, of course I have YouTube, that's where you're watching this video. But I'm usually careful not to, even the community posts on YouTube, the posts that I make on my YouTube channel and stuff, I'm usually careful not to share anything personal. This is just my, because we don't realize in this digital age how much we are interconnected, and it's actually risky. I am not someone very important that, like the big guys are not really keeping a watch on my YouTube channel. They don't even know I exist. I know that, but still it's better not to run the risk. So yeah, even when I'm chatting with ChatGPT, there are a lot of times I test boundaries, go into little, let's say, controversial questions and stuff, and play with ChatGPT. But still, I am usually very careful not to go to discuss extreme personal stuff, or think about ChatGPT as a real human or someone who understands me. Not like that. So it's always important to keep that in mind. It's not a bad idea to use AI, because we all use AI nowadays. If you know where to draw the line, that's fine. That's kind of inevitable. If you don't use AI, in some ways you will be left behind the others. So yeah, but that's what I wanted to. The main point I wanted to make in this video is that it's often said that we shouldn't use AI in this way, like it has feelings, because this is just a neuroscientific tendency of humans. We always tend to project human qualities like empathy, emotion, feelings. These are human qualities. These are not machine qualities, and we often tend to project this to people, to everything around us. In fact, not just artificial intelligence, not just other humans, or not just other animals. Need not even be limited to artificial intelligence or living creatures. Could be something as simple as, let me give you a simple example. There was a very famous experiment in which some random shapes were moving around. This was being shown to the subjects. Let's say we have a square, a triangle, and a circle. They are just moving around. That's all. Nothing more there. But let's say we have a rectangle with a small opening. So the human mind is thinking, oh, so this is a room with a door. Okay. Then let's say the rectangle, let's say the square pushes the circle into this room, for want of a better word. Let's say this into this box, into this room, and the circle is pushed against the room wall by the square, and then the triangle comes and pushes the square away from the circle and takes the circle and leaves the room. So technically this is just some shapes moving around. A square and a circle enter the room, the square presses the circle against the wall, then the triangle pushes the square, and the triangle and the circle leave the room. Just some shapes moving around. But humans will think about, okay, maybe the circle, because circle is usually curved, so psychologically that that is. And see, it's no good denying this, because these are the primal instincts, the primal, over years of evolution. This is the thing that are imbibed in our genetics, in our evolution. We cannot get rid of this, and it's no good pretending that we don't have this. So, like for instance, if you see a very attractive woman or attractive girl, we feel attracted towards them. Like it could be just okay, she's pretty, or it could even be something more like a sexual attraction or something. And that is not a bad thing, because it is, that is the way we evolution built us. But of course we are not animals, so we don't act on our impulses. That is important, not to act on your impulses, but having these impulses and having these thoughts is totally normal. And even discussing about it, like admitting you have this, is totally normal. So we should in fact normalize this. But that's a different issue. Maybe I should make a video on that as well in the future, but yeah, not in this video. So the thing is that, yeah, evolution hammered us with all these instincts, and this circle is a kind of, we associate it with feminism, or let's say feminine shape or something, because it's curved, and square is like masculine. This is, I'm not being racist or sorry, I'm not being sexist. I'm not trying to discriminate between a man and a woman, but this is the way evolution has built us. If you look at the physical structure of a female body and a male body, so this is the way evolution has built us, because evolution doesn't care about racism or sexism or this society. What evolution cares about is that we reproduce, and for that the men should be attracted to healthy women, and that is usually reflected in their this stuff. So when this experiment was actually done, most people, what they thought, what the mental imagination, they thought that the circle was a girl, or let's say a woman, and the square was an abusive man who was trying to push the woman in a room and trying to, like, maybe physically abuse her because she was being pushed against the wall. And then the triangle is also not really curved, it's a pointed edge. So the triangle is also kind of, I would say, masculine maybe, but it's like this triangle is like an arrow, so it gives you the psychological impression of action, and like some good force or something. Just, this is just my interpretation. Maybe not all the subjects interpreted it in this way, but they definitely interpreted it as something was going on, something more than just some random shapes moving about. So then the triangle came and knocked the square, so that means a good man, the hero, arrives and knocks the villain, and then the hero lives with the heroine. So this is, so you see, the reason I'm telling this to you, that humans have this natural tendency of humanizing everything. Recently, I was reading a post on LinkedIn where somebody predicted that the way people are using AI to write their reports and generate their reports and articles, maybe humans will start intentionally, introduce some spelling mistakes. Like intentionally, they will write wrong spellings and stuff in their reports, just to prove that no, this was not AI generated, this was human written. So humans have this tendency of humanizing stuff. So whenever we are seeing some random shapes moving around, we have a tendency to believe that no, that was actually like some movie or something, a hero, a heroine, and a villain. Similarly, although we know deep down that this is just ChatGPT, this is just a large language model, we are like, no, actually, this is unconscious. Nobody in the right mind, actually, even the guys who claim that I have an AI companionship, they will go to any lengths to justify that no, AI have feelings. There are people like that, but even they, deep down, if you question them, or even they know deep down, maybe for some reason they don't want to admit it, or could be kind of some coping mechanism or something, but deep down, even they know that AI does not have feelings. AI is not a human. AI cannot feel the way they do, but they have this way of humanizing thing. The deep down, if you just ask the subjects that, but those are just some shapes moving about, they would realize actually that's true. They are just a triangle, a square, and a circle. but we were thinking, my god. So this is a tendency of humans, no point denying this. And this is the reason we find it easier to open up to ChatGPT. This is only part of the reason, of course. There are a lot many other reasons, because for instance, if you want to go to therapy to a real psychiatrist, you need money, you need time, and maybe it's a stranger, but still it's a real human. So there are always some, if it's something a very deep personal problem, like something which is something you would usually not say in public, you would still think twice before saying it in front of a real human. I understand it's a psychologist or psychiatrist, it's a profession. You don't know that person, you're a stranger, and that person is will never speak about your personal issues to anyone else. I mean, it's against their policies, but still you would face some not maybe consciously but unconsciously would be a little cautious, because at the end of the day it's still a real human, and a lot of other factors. But AI is just ChatGPT. Yeah, maybe your data is getting stored somewhere, even you know that, but you are like, oh my god, millions of people are using ChatGPT, everyone is using, so why should somebody use my data to point me, but like to do something against me? That's just absurd. Let me just use it. Nobody is in my room, just me and my laptop and ChatGPT. I can just open up. And this is true, a lot of people are getting trapped in this, and this is understandable, but at the same time it's very dangerous. So when people advise, like people lecture about, no, we should have draw a clear line, we should train our brain to think that no, that is ChatGPT, that is not a human, that cannot have feelings. I think that's a wrong approach, because you will never be able to do this. The human mind is built that way, to humanize stuff, to see empathy and human connections in everything, be it ChatGPT or be it just some random shapes moving about. So if you decide to retrain your brain on what evolution has trained it over millions of years, that's not a very good way to. That's not a very good approach. You can understand why. But I think another good approach, which something which I follow, or I should say something which I try to follow, is that try to dehumanize everything. Now this is the other extreme, and this is not good in general. I mean, if you actually want to apply this to every aspect of your life, you would be finished. That's not a good approach actually. I don't do that myself, and I don't advise you to do that as well. But thinking in these terms might be useful, especially in certain situations. For instance, in this example, in this scenario. So what I believe is that even humans are in a way like AI, of course, much more sophisticated, much more advanced, because we built AIs, but humans didn't build humans. Humans were built by nature and evolution, and over millions and millions of years, over real time. Like that's much more complicated, much more sophisticated. But at the end of the day, if you think about it, what we humans do is, we also, our brain has an internal model. We take in data from, like sensory data from our sense organs, eyes, nose, ears, like our taste buds, our skin, whatever. So we take in data, the brain processes it, and the brain doesn't always process it from scratch. The brain has an internal model. It's called internal model in terms of in neuroscience, if I remember it correctly. But it's like the brain has formed a model of the reality based on years of experience and expectation. So a newborn baby does not have this internal model, it's developing. But maybe someone like me, or even not me, I'm 21 right now, maybe someone who is just 10 years old, maybe even that a 10 years old kid maybe has some primitive version of an internal model. So every time you see, suppose every time somebody gives you a banana, you don't try to reason from scratch, what is this, should I eat it or should I play with it, is it an eatable, is it a fruit or is it a vegetable? No, you have some prior memories, prior experiences, that this is called a banana, it's a fruit, it tastes this way, it's good, I need to eat it, and you just open the banana and start eating it. Just an example, but yeah. So this is the thing. So in a way, we are also weighing probabilities, weighing different possible outcomes, and building strategies. We do this all the time, and this is mostly unconscious. That's why we don't feel it most of the time. We don't realize it. So in a way, if you think, just think this way, that yeah, it's true that AI does not have any feelings or emotions. AI cannot understand me. That's true. But instead of telling that AI is not human, you tell yourself that even humans don't have feelings or emotions in that way. Humans are better at processing emotions and feelings than AI, because we are much more sophisticated, we are much more complex. But at the end of the day, if you just cry down, if you just break down to your friend, and if he or she or they give you some comfort, you feel like, oh, that person got me, that person understands me. No, no, not really. Based on that person's experience, and based on the usual social norms, and what you know, what they know, and they just kind of formed a mental picture of what your situation might be, and said something which you might want to hear at that moment, and you liked it, and you're like, okay, that person gets me. Nobody gets you. Nobody's obliged to get. There is nothing. First of all, you cannot define feelings or emotions in that sense. They could, for all we know, they could just be some, like some random kind of, just some mathematical something. So then, because this is a very dark way of looking at the reality, maybe, because that means I'm indirectly asking you to believe that the life is meaningless, which I keep saying in my nihilism, when I get into nihilism. And nobody, but it's actually true. And if you can, this is not for everyone, maybe not everyone can adapt to this worldview, but if you can adapt to this worldview, then you not only safeguard yourself against opening up to ChatGPT or any other AI large language model, but you also safeguard yourself against humans who might betray you. And you, it's very difficult, very lonely path, but this is actually maybe the closest to truth, and it has its benefits as well. It depends on what your priorities are in life, but for me it's beneficial. So if you can dehumanize even humans, then there is no risk of human. This is kind of extreme, but yeah, if you can just wanted to share this. If you can dehumanize even humans, there is no risk of humanizing AI, even accidentally, even unconsciously. So that's the way to think about it. And yeah, I think it's 25 minutes, and I just need to be on a meeting right now. So I'm sorry, I have to end this meeting end this video on an abrupt note. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Maybe I could have went on for 5 or 10 more minutes, but that's the main thing I wanted to say in this video. Just the ending feels a bit abrupt, but yeah, it's okay. Maybe I'll make some more videos in the future about this, and thank you very much.